This is a tough video. Uh... Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Nikki, and today's video is going to be a little different. I just kind of wanted to sit down and talk about something that has had a huge impact on my weight loss journey. I've really just wanted to make this video in hopes that it could help even one other person, because this was something that was so hard for me to really understand, and it's something that I'm still working on every single day. And I know so many people struggle with this. It's such a hard topic to talk about, whether you're talking about yourself or someone else's mental health. I just kind of wanted to start out with how mental health kind of related to my food habits, my relationship with food, and how it kind of led to my weight gain. After Adam and I moved into our new house, we were both working crazy. He was working crazy hours, a job that was an hour and a half away. I was working 2 jobs, trying to start up my business. We were both just working our butts off, which there's nothing wrong with that. We accomplished a lot that we're really proud of, but at the same time, we didn't take care of ourselves during that time. And that was something we needed to change and really focus on. And that's what we kind of did when we started this weight loss journey. But for me personally, food has always just meant comfort for me, and it's brought me joy in a way that I can't even explain. It's not even like I'll enjoy the food that I'm eating that much, but just the act of eating it brought me comfort. And a lot of times I knew what I was doing when I was eating too much or binging. It just affected my mental health so horribly, because after I would finish, I just felt so much worse than I did before I even started. And it's just a really tough thing to talk about, because I felt so embarrassed about it for so long, and it's not anything to be embarrassed about. I needed help. I needed to work through my mental health to get to a better relationship with food. And it took me a long time to realize that. I'm still working on it every day. It got to the point where I would be working all day, I'd put off eating, but then I knew when I finished, I could sit down on the couch and eat my meal, and it was like what I looked forward to every day. But it got to the point where it was like huge takeout meals that we would just sit down, watch a show, and just like indulge in this food. And yeah, it brought me joy for the 15 minutes I was inhaling this food, but I felt so much worse after every time. It was like I knew what I was doing, but I just didn't care. That 15 minutes of like relaxation and comfort and relief from my work, it became a normal thing that like every day I was just looking forward to sitting on the couch and eating all this food. That was just one of the bad habits I had to get out of, but relating to my mental health specifically, that was huge. One thing I've really worked on is not having such an emotional attachment, not having such a like happy comfort feeling with food. Obviously, yes, food brings me joy still. I have so much fun making new recipes and trying new things, but I try to eat at the table more and sit down and have conversation and focus on my food, or I make sure to eat throughout the day. I think that was huge too, because I'd be so hungry, I'd sit down and just eat this food. Now I'm snacking throughout the day. I'm not like totally just looking forward to that meal. And that meal is not some huge takeout meal anymore. I'm eating much healthier choices, so that has also helped my mental health. And another thing with that is controlling my portion sizes. I'm not getting these huge meals that I would just eat to eat because they're in front of me. Now I've watched my portion sizes, and that's made a huge difference. When I was younger, I would also do this because, and this is something I don't really want to talk about, so I'm not really going to talk much on it, but I'm hoping someone else can maybe relate to what I'm talking about. And when I was younger, there would be times my parents would fight, and they did end up getting divorced. So it wasn't always the best situation. And I found that we would always eat dinner together, no matter what happened that day or what was going to happen that night. We would always sit down and have dinner at the same time. And I feel like that brought me some level of comfort, that like things were fine, and food was always just an escape from whatever issues were going on. So we would all sit down and watch a show as a family and eat our meal together. Sometimes we would even play games when we would eat dinner. And I think that that just helped like me in my brain connect like comfort to eating. And I think that's kind of when it started. And it ended up going to the point where I would go downstairs at night, and when everyone else was asleep, and I would go in the cabinet, find something, and just binge on it. And I remember like thinking back to those times, like I felt good. Half the time I didn't even enjoy the food I was eating that much. It just like, it was something that was an escape. I don't know, it would just take me away from my problems. And I think that that also led into my bad eating habits of just overeating, because I just related food to comfort. And so just really working on looking for why I was looking for comfort and working on those issues has helped me to fix my relationship with food. Portion sizes, really controlling portion sizes. I still will be making up my plate and think like this isn't going to be enough. It's still a mental issue in my head, but then I sit down and eat the food and I'm full and I realize that it was enough. And before, I don't know, it was like I needed to get as much food on my plate as I could, and then I would just eat it because it was in front of me even if I wasn't hungry. That was always just like a spiral. In this day and age, there's such a pressure on men and women to look a certain way and have a certain hairstyle or a certain body shape or just all these things, perfect skin. And obviously, that's not going to be possible for the everyday person. That's not possible for a majority of people because we're human and these are our bodies. We need to love our bodies that we're in and just take care of them, not care so much about the external. If someone's going to judge you for that, you don't need that person in your life. If someone's going to judge you for your weight, you don't need that person in your life. And that was something that I had a hard time with, because obviously people weren't so much judging me to my face or treating me a certain way because of my weight, but I know deep down people had thoughts about it, especially when I was gaining a lot of weight, and that just made me feel so bad about myself. And I kind of just had to get over that because people are going to think things, but that just doesn't matter, because I also think things about people, and I've worked really hard to stop like any judgments I've made towards people, because first of all, I don't know their situation, and so I have no right to judge them. But especially when it comes to appearance, like, I know it sounds so tacky, but I had to kind of just like get in my head that people can think these things about me, but it doesn't change who I am. And I really have worked on not caring so much about what people think about me. That has been the most freeing feeling, and it really has helped me to accomplish goals that I never thought I would accomplish, because I realized how much my insecurities were holding me back, and my worry that people were going to judge me, how much that was holding me back. Because really, I realized that people are just thinking about themselves like 90% of the time, and if they're going to make judgments towards you, first of all, that doesn't matter. But second of all, it doesn't change who you are as a person. And I just needed to have confidence in me and know that I'm doing the right thing. And I don't know, that really helped me a lot. When I was at my worst mentally because of my weight, I hated myself. I couldn't look in the mirror. I seriously went full days without looking in the mirror because I was so disappointed in myself. I was disgusted with myself. I worked so hard at so many other things, and for some reason, like losing weight, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it my whole life. I felt like a failure because I just couldn't be in shape like I wanted to. And I realized that those thoughts were the thoughts that were holding me back. And I felt like I was less of a person because I couldn't lose weight. And that just doesn't make sense. I know now why I had those thoughts in my head, and I still do sometimes, but it's just constant work. You have to constantly work on your mindset and remind yourself like you're trying and you're working hard and you're doing the right thing, and it'll lead to results. I don't know. I guess that was just a really hard thing for me to kind of get in my head and not feel so down about myself. I think to the day where we started WW and how I finally just said, like, this time's different. This time I decided that I was going to find the root of my problems that were causing these eating habits and ruining my relationship with food, and I was going to work on those. For example, at the time, my job was extremely stressful to me with my business at home, and so I had to cut back on the hours I was working there, and that may have stressed me out a little bit more financially, but what it did for my mental health was life-changing. And being able to spend some time on myself, even just getting enough sleep. Oh my God, sleep is so important. You have got to get your sleep in, because that is huge for your mental health. And I noticed such a difference when I was able to start spending more time sleeping and recovering. But finding the problems in my life that were causing me stress, that were leading to me comfort eating, that was like what my main focus was going to be when I started WW. Like I said, I cut back my hours. I started taking care of myself a lot more. I started taking baths. I started doing things with my hair. I started doing my makeup again because that brought me joy. I started getting cute clothes even before they fit me correctly because it was just motivation. I just started really putting an effort to take care of myself, and that just made me feel a lot better. That was probably the hardest time working on my mental health, was making that change, because it was a constant battle in my head. I would still talk so horribly to myself in the beginning, but I would realize that I was was doing it and then I would make a change. And that was huge for me. I would realize that I was like talking negative about myself, how I looked. And then I would say, no, you're doing this to better yourself. Like, stop being so hard on yourself. And when I really got that down, I mean, that just made a huge difference. I had gotten to the point where I felt like, why bother work on myself? It was pointless because I was so far gone. I just didn't care. Whatever. I just couldn't lose weight. Too bad. I just kind of like gave up. That was my mindset. And when I finally said, this is enough and I can do this, and I just started talking positively to myself, it's amazing what positive self-talk can do. Again, that's something you need to work on. It's something you need to learn how to do and how to make it work for yourself. You need to talk positive to yourself. You need to love yourself because it'll make a world of a difference. You'll see that it reflects in your choices. It reflects in just the way you live your life when you start to just change the way you think. And that sounds so much easier than it really is. It takes so much work, but you have to start somewhere. I don't know. I guess I'm making this video because you can't neglect your mental health when it comes to this journey. And some people might not deal with these issues where they found comfort in food. It brought them an escape from maybe their depression or anxiety. But I think the biggest thing I would want someone to take out of this video is that your weight does not define you. And if you let it do that, it will control your mental health in a negative way. There's just so much pressure to look a certain way. I've never really told this story to anyone. I was in college, I played volleyball, and we were at a school. I remember going up to serve, and the crowd behind me was a bunch of college guys, and I remember as I was serving, they started chanting muffin top, and I didn't even know what to do in that moment. Like, I can't even explain how low of a person I felt like at that moment, and I just wanted to die in that minute. And people go through so much worse with people judging their weight, and I can't imagine the way that I felt in that moment. I felt like so much less of a person, and I think people don't understand how much of a grasp your weight can have on you. When it becomes something that consumes your thoughts, that was just one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me. Again, they didn't know that I was going home that night and scarfing down food because it's the one thing that brought me comfort. I know that other people will relate to this and understand what I'm trying to say, and other people won't, but like, it was just something that was an escape. And I was working out for like 4 hours a day, hard conditioning, hard volleyball. I wasn't lazy. Like, I was active. I don't know. I felt so helpless, and I felt like no one understood it. I was around other people who they were in great shape. They were doing the same workouts as me, and they looked great, but I didn't because I was still eating the way I was. And it was something I never felt like I could talk to anyone else about. And like I said, even after that happened, I didn't tell anyone about it. I cried for a long time about it, and I still think about it all the time and the way that I felt that day. And now I use it as a way to not feel bad because I know, like, just have to worry about yourself, and starting to love myself and care about myself, make good choices, has led to my mental health improving tremendously. When you get to the point that you are overweight or obese, food is so much more than just not being able to control eating a lot. Like, I feel like people that can judge people for being overweight don't understand at all what is really going on mentally, because majority of the time, the reason that you're overeating is not because you just love food. There's always a deeper root to the problem. And that's one thing that has changed for me this journey, is that I looked at the root of the problem and I slowly started working on that. And from there, I've been able to slowly improve my mental health. And like I said, it is still a battle every single day. And honestly, after losing weight, I've found that I'm now suffering with way more body dysmorphia. Before, I just didn't even look in the mirror. I just had kind of like given up. Now I have found myself obsessing over how I look. And there are times I have to stop myself because I have to think like I will look in the mirror and think, wow, I look really big today. But I'm like, Nikki, look at how far you've come. Like, I have to talk myself through it, and it works, and it's not easy, but you just have to start with your mental health. You have to start with loving yourself and talking to yourself that way. And like I said, I don't know if this video will even help anyone. I'm hoping it can help one other person for it to click in your head, because that's what it took for me to just realize, like, this isn't my fault. This is more than just I can't lose weight. It's not just I'm failing at losing weight. It's so much more. It's my mental health. It's my work was too much. My stress load, everything was just too much. And that was what was leading to it. And I'm not any less of a person for gaining weight. I'm not any more of a person for losing weight. It doesn't matter. Your weight does not define you. I know that's just like said all the time, but it's so true. You cannot let your weight define you, because the way I felt about myself showed in my confidence, which that was the vibe that I gave off to other people, which sometimes just came off as negative or sad. I had such negative thoughts about other people doing well because I couldn't do it, like other people losing weight or something. I was so self-conscious about it. And it was something that I've had to work on now. I can see someone else have success in weight loss and it brings me so much joy because I know how it feels. And I just know like not everything's a competition and everybody's worked hard to get where they're at. And so I don't know, this video is all over the place, but I just really want to say, like, you can't care what people think, and it's so much easier said than done, like I've said many times. Nobody has a right to judge you. You have no reason to feel embarrassed for your weight. You have no reason to feel embarrassed that you've failed. And especially right now with COVID, this has been the most stressful time in people's lives. So yes, I mean, people are trying to make money. They're trying to survive right now. Their main focus is not losing weight. And so if that is you in this situation, like, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel embarrassed. Don't feel like a failure, because it's just going to get you more in your head mentally. And you just have to talk to yourself in a positive way and have confidence in yourself, and the results will come with it because your actions will follow. And that, I think, is what is so important. You've got to start with your mental health. You've got to take care of yourself. I know my lowest lows, how I felt in my head and how I would think about myself, and it breaks my heart because it's not okay. And like I said, I still get there sometimes, but I've worked so hard on it, and it's just a constant thing you have to work on. And so if anyone seriously is struggling with this, like, I would love for you to reach out to me. I'd love to talk about this, about some things that I've done to make changes with my mental health. Just know, like, first of all, if anyone's going to say anything about your weight, get them out of your life. You don't need them. Those guys that made that comment at the volleyball game, like, I can't think about them because they don't know anything about me. Who were they to say anything about me? They don't know what I was going through at that time. That was such a hard time in my life. So for them to say that, like, yeah. A few things to focus on after watching this is, first of all, focus on getting sleep. Get your sleep in. It makes all the difference in your mental health. Not getting too much sleep either, because that can affect your mental health in a negative way as well. Get the right amount of sleep for you. Find what works for you. But also just focus on talking positive to yourself in the morning or throughout the day. Try to find the issues in your life that are causing the stress or anxiety or depression and start to work on those, because the improvement in your mental health will come with that when you are able to start making time for yourself. Obviously, I'm not saying you could just get rid of your problems, but you can find the root of the problem, and you can do things to slowly make things easier on yourself and slowly better your life. And then that will lead to improved mental health, which I'm telling you is so important for weight loss, because when I was able to get those feelings of failure and feelings of embarrassment out of my head, I was able to just have confidence in the changes I was making and make it so much more of a positive experience. Before, I was just like, when I would try to lose weight in the past, I was so mean to myself. Like, I would say, like, come on, don't eat more. Like, why are you doing this? Or like, it was just such a negative thing all the time. And so this time was so much different with my weight loss because I had such a positive mindset. I had such a different mindset, and it really is possible, and it will really help you to achieve your goals. So please just, like, don't care what people think. Don't feel ashamed for where you are when you start to realize that it really makes all the difference. So like I said, please feel free to reach out. If you want to DM me on Instagram, I'd love to hear about anything you're going through. If there's any way I can help, just reach out and know that you're not alone with these feelings, and you're not alone with this struggle, because so many people are going through it. Nobody has any right to judge what you're doing. If you're making an effort, who cares what they have to say? So worry about yourself. Yeah, I hope this video helps at least one other person out there. It really is important to take care of yourself and show yourself some love. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.